Hi everyone, it's Nix. I hope you're doing well and welcome back to my channel. So I've been reading all the comments on Instagram and on YouTube, and I've spoken to a bunch of you on Instagram also and replied to as many comments as I could. I'm sorry if I didn't get to yours, but one thing that stood out, one is a lot of you felt your brain is just fried from seeing so many creators, and I genuinely feel for you guys. And the second was a lot of people said, I don't understand how to be and I don't understand what I'm doing wrong. And someone did say to me, oh, in one of the videos you said, if it seems difficult, then you're doing something wrong. I don't mean wrong or right in the literal sense. What I'm trying to say is that for the logical mind to accept that it can be this straightforward can be challenging, because the logical mind can't understand any of this. It's beyond understanding. You are not the body, you're not the mind, you're not the thoughts or the beliefs. You are consciousness. You are the observer, the one that sees everything, the one that's aware of everything. The reason why we suffer is because we think that there is a separation between us and the creator, or a higher power, or between us and whatever it is that we're desiring. But there is no separation because everything is consciousness. And even though we are here in this meat suit, assuming a character for our time here in the physical plane, we are still an extension of consciousness. And the whole reason to be here in duality is for consciousness to experience itself. So my character might look different from yours, might behave differently, might sound different, but we are the same, you and I. There's no separation. I am the same thing that you are because we are all consciousness. And during our time here, we might have different experiences. We might feel different things and we might have different thoughts and events and circumstances. But that's only for consciousness to experience itself through different perspectives. So when someone says, I don't know how to be, you're always being. Being is existing. You never cease to exist. Your time as a human might come to an end, but you, the true you, consciousness, awareness, it's gonna exist forever. Consciousness isn't this or that. It just is. It's beyond words, beyond explanations. This is why it's difficult to explain, because words are within the physical or the mental realm, right? But what we're talking about is beyond that. It's the spiritual realm. That's why you can't understand this or approach this from your logical mind. You can't try to grasp this. You can't try to hold on to it. You can't. It's formless. And this is why you guys drive yourself up a wall, because you're trying to understand something. You can't. This isn't about the mind. It's being. It's spiritual. You can't use your logic to understand this. Someone mentioned Eric from The Power of I Am, and I believe he said this in one of his videos, that this shit is not logical. It's magical. And he's right. You cannot approach this from understanding. You cannot approach this from logic. This is beyond all of that. It's everything and nothing. So whatever you're experiencing, the problems, the impossible situations, the circumstances, they exist because you said that they exist. They don't exist outside of consciousness. You put that barrier there. You said that this is impossible. Nothing is impossible. And I just have to say this because I know that someone's going to comment this. I'm not saying go jump off a roof and you'll learn how to fly. There are limitations within the physical realm, but you are not a physical being. The real you, I'm not talking about your meat suit or your time as a human, but you, the true you, are beyond all of those things. You are consciousness, and consciousness has no barriers. It has no limitations. It's beyond all of that. The problems, the circumstances, the events, all of this, good or bad, they exist within consciousness. But consciousness itself has no limitations. The only reason it seems impossible to you is because you said that it was impossible. You put that limitation for yourself. And therefore you experience that reality where that thing or that person is impossible for you to have, or there's something stopping you from achieving that. Now, this is where beliefs and thoughts come in. When you're born, you don't know anything. You're completely pure, just waiting to be brainwashed or fed with information. So let's say that something happened in your life and then you said, oh, but I never had this thought. Right, but you were being an identity, or you were identifying with a version of yourself who would experience something like this because it's happened before, because it's a feedback loop. We are all extensions of the larger oneness, the greater consciousness. And for things to be true, we need to observe them, because outside of our assumption or observation, nothing exists. Things and situations and circumstances exist because we observe them. We are aware of them. So, coming back to the situations and circumstances, something happened a certain way, which was opposite to what the person was desiring. And so they observed that outcome, meaning they were consciously aware that this outcome occurred. And eventually it becomes a feedback loop where this is a possible outcome. So for example, how do we know that something is true or something is real? By observing it or being aware of it. That is why you must have heard people saying, think for yourself. Whatever you assume to be true for you is true. Don't base it on what somebody else is saying, because it's a feedback loop. If something turned out a certain way for someone else and they're telling you that, hey, this is going to be the outcome to what you're trying to do because this is how it turned out for me, you now have an assumption that this is probably not going to go in my favor. Even though there were no limitations, there were no impossibilities, but you now created one because you're basing it off of somebody else's experience. And because you assume that it would turn out a certain way, it does. This is why I say this, a lot of other creators say this too. Make sure that you're consuming positive, uplifting content. Be sure to talk to yourself in a positive way. Don't say negative things about yourself. Don't put yourself down. Remove yourself from toxic situations, because everything is going into your mind and then it's becoming thoughts and beliefs. So it doesn't matter whether or not you said that specific thing to yourself for an undesired outcome to occur. And this is why I say that you need to focus on being, meaning that you are consciousness. You are reality. Reality does not exist outside of you. You are it. It exists because you exist. Problems exist because you exist as the observer of the problem or the creator of the problem. I'm not saying you're the problem. I'm saying that because of a certain thought or belief or assumption, the problem was created. But if you can create the problem, you can also make the problem disappear, because you are everything. You are the creator. Nothing is happening outside your individual point of consciousness. It's all within consciousness. It's all for consciousness. So when you know that you are consciousness and you are reality, nothing is outside of you because you are the source of everything. There is no need for anything because you are everything, and therefore you have everything that you desire. And that is when all of your desires come to you, because you get who you are, not what you want. You don't have to believe me. People might think that I'm crazy, and that's fine. I'm not forcing you to accept this. There might be resistance, and that's normal. It's fine. You don't have to force yourself. I'm just putting it out there for anybody who needs it. But yeah, being requires no effort. Stop looking at it from, I need to do something to be. That's doing. That's not being. Being just is. There's no effort, there's no action, there's nothing. You just are. You always will be. But yeah, I just wanted to share this with you guys. I know that it helped in whatever way, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.